Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Big thank you to the ASIFA organization and all the folks working there. My presentation today is Creative Freedom Starts Here, Blender3D. My name is WilliamDavis, and I'm going to go over the awesome 3D, 2D software that is Blender. Who am I? I'm a storyteller in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been doing video production, visual effects, 3D, drone stuff, a lot of creative things for over 10 years now. And currently, I am the Assistant Director of Video Production and New Media for PR and Marketing Communications at Georgia State University. Go Panthers, and shout out to the PRMC team. They're pretty awesome folks there. So let's get into it. What is Blender? It is an open source digital content creation package. But what does that mean? It does rendering, modeling, sculpting, animation rigging, grease pencil, it's 2D stuff, VFX, video editing, it's got a video editor built in, pipeline integration, simulations, scripting, it's all built on Python, super flexible. The interface of Blender is completely customizable, so you can change things all around to fit your needs. What are the origins of Blender? Where did this all come from? Well, it was created by Ton Roosendaal, a Dutch software developer and film producer from the Netherlands. And back in 1995, the beginning of Blender as we know it started. The software is great, does all these things. There's a lot of other pro software out there like Maya, 3ds Max, and C4D. Why did I make the jump into Blender? Well, industry was changing. I noticed over the past few years, the streaming wars have kicked up into high gear. You've got Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Disney Plus, and they're all hungry for content. And on top of that, you had game engine integration with filmmaking and visual effects, like what we're seeing in The Mandalorian. And also I saw the rise of way more indie studios than we've seen before to meet that need of all that content that people want to see. I wanted to adopt a software that was flexible, professional, and could deliver good results. Because at the end of the day, results, that's all that matters. I also jumped over because of cost, because everybody started moving into a subscription-based model. On top of that, the cost of team licensing, and the fact if you wanted to be good, not only did you need to get the software, but you also needed to pay for an external renderer like Octane or Redshift. And that's all well and fine, but it started getting kind of expensive. A couple of years ago, 2017-18, Blender 2.8 was announced and then released. They did a major UI overhaul, and they also introduced the Eevee real-time renderer engine. And then they also did some grease pencil overhaul for 2D animation work. Community. Community is so important when it comes to learning new software. The community is folks all over the world. I would ask a lot of questions and try to troubleshoot scenes and was met with nothing but awesomeness. So those were the reasons I jumped over to it, but I had to give it a test drive. So at Georgia State, there was the Giving Day 2019 that was coming up, and I had a concept of it all starts with one. All great things start with just one little domino that falls, and then everything else just kind of falls into place. And this was set up, simulated, and viewed real time using the Eevee render engine. I was able to develop this in a matter of just days, pitched it, they loved it, and it was a testament to show how powerful Blender can actually be. And on top of that, since January of 2020, I started the Blender 52 challenge, and you have to basically create a unique piece of 3D art each week for 52 weeks. Big question on everybody's mind is, with a software this powerful, how much does it cost? Well, it's free. The whole mission behind Blender is to create and build a free and open source, complete 3D creation pipeline for artists and small teams by publicly managed projects on blender.org. It's licensed as GNU GPL, which means it's owned by its contributors, not some big corporation. For that reason, Blender is free and open source software forever. Let's go over a product demonstration of Blender. I want to create a beach scene. This is our viewport. We have a default cube, we have a light, and we have a camera. And I want to see what the camera's seeing. I'm going to drag this over, hit 0. I'm going to hit Shift A, and you can add a whole lot of things to the scene. But I'm going to add a plane. I'm going to scale that up. So this will be our beach, and now I'm going to create the ocean. Subdivide. Do that a few times. Cool. Go to sculpt mode. Jump right into sculpt mode and start making this like a beach. right? We have a beach, we have an ocean, but it's all pretty gray. You can do a few things to visualize. You can change your viewport shading. We're in solid mode right now, which is almost like you would have in a clay studio. You can do matte caps. That's easier for you. You can also go into material preview mode. And in the settings here, you have built-in HDR images that can light your scene. And we want a sunny day like that. And you can even rotate the sun. And what that's doing is allowing you to figure out art direction real quick. I want to add an HDRI image. Awesome. I'm going to create a new little window right up here. I'm going to turn this into a shader view. So I'm going to go into my shader editor. And this is all node-based. It's super easy visual language. We have a background. We have this HDR image that's feeding into that. And then you can set up mapping texture coordinates. I want to start texturing some things, so I'm going to change this from my world settings to my object settings. Over here and hit new, and we'll call this ocean. Add a glossy, add a Musgrave texture. You can see in rendered view what that looks like. That's really refractive. Set this to that. We want it to have a little sand. So now we set up a beach scene with a little bit of an animated motion. It was done in just a few minutes. Now this is an example of Blender's grease pencil workflow for 2D animation work. It's from the artist Dedues. It's from Paris. Incredible artist. And if you hit play, and so he's able to draw right in the viewport with a grease pencil and incorporate it, little Totoro, onto a 3D bike and shade this. And this is all in viewport. So when you go to hit render, there you go. Well, that was cool. How does it compare, though, to other software? When you've got motion graphic artists using Cinema 4D, it's super easy interface to use. Maya has great animation tools. Houdini, giant, crazy destruction simulations. Well, it's apples and oranges. Both are fruit, both are unique. All those softwares have their own pros and cons, but Blender, as I've been able to see through the years, has been able to kind of hold its own. And I'll go into that a little bit by just going over basic workflows. So this is a super basic workflow for visual effects. This is not scripture, but typically you go to film something, you need to 3D model something, you need to rig it, you need to animate it, you need to UV texture it, you need to light it, you need to render it, and then you need to composite it. Every studio has their own workflow, but this is kind of typical. And we've seen, though, Blender has been able to actually keep up at every step of the way. And this also somewhat applies to 3D feature animation workflow as well. Now let's go over the super basic workflow for video games. Again, similar software, you got to outline it. You get software for modeling, rigging animation, UV texture, and then integration of the game engine. Again, Blender is capable of handling each step of that process right up to a game integration. So this is all well and fine, but who's using it professionally, like pros? Well, let's start with John Majurabev. He's a concept artist and art director. He's worked at Lucasfilm. He's worked on Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and some of the films. Then you have Ian Hubert, Blender genius and film director. Then you have Tangent Animation Studio, a Canadian CG feature film production company. They worked on the 2018 Netflix movie Next Gen. Ubisoft, video game company that's worked on Assassin's Creed, Far Cry. Ubisoft also developed the open source Mixer add-on, Barnstorm VFX. They've done the visual effects for Man in the High Castle, Silicon Valley, and some other shows. But they have used Blender in their pipeline quite a lot. Kara Studio, a Japanese animation studio best known for its work on the Evangelion film tetralogy. We have the indie video game scene. Trüberbrook is a thrilling mystery adventure game set in rural Germany in the late 1960s. So all those examples being said, who is Blender actually for? If you haven't guessed it, anyone who wants to create in 3D. Super compatible, works on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and has a very small hardware requirement. Students would benefit a lot from learning about Blender. Indie artists, content creators, and then of course indie studios. Thank you so much for taking the time to hear me out on Blender. Check out blender.org. You can learn more about the software, about the foundation, the institute, the projects, the open movies, and then also Blender 2.91 dropped as of November 25th. It's the latest stable version, a lot of new features. It's really, really cool. So download it, check it out. It's free, and happy blending.